Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well and that you guys are staying safe and being able to deal with the gang stalkers and, of course, being in a good mood, being uplifted. I think that's really important in gang stalking. Always stay uplifted, always stay in a good mood because remember, guys, these guys want to bring us down. They want to despirit us. They want us to feel like we lost at life. And of course, it's really important to keep fighting the fight. So I'm making this video. It's maybe not that much related to gang stalking. It's a different topic. And I'm going to title this video, Why the Government Doesn't Want You to Be Healthy. Now, this is a really interesting topic. If you are somebody who follows my channel, you know for a fact that I do not like the government very much. I have a lot of negative things to say about the government. Clearly, the government is the one who is behind our gang stalking, so they are pretty much our enemy. I don't know if you guys have watched a movie that came out a long time ago. It's called Enemy of the State. I think you guys should watch that movie. It's very interesting. It's basically about a guy who is being targeted basically by the government, and he is running away from the government, and the government is constantly sending agents to catch him and to kill him, or I don't know, whatever. So yeah, why is it that the government does not want you to be healthy? I'm gonna try to explain this in simple terms. So we know for a fact that there is a lot of illnesses out there. We know that people are sick. There's a lot of people who are sick out there. Whether it is from physical illnesses such as cancer or diabetes or heart disease or Alzheimer's, or if it is psychological disorders such as bipolar, schizophrenia, and depression, and so on and so forth. We know that these disorders and diseases exist all over the place. There is quite a high statistic for the number of people that are sick in society. And I believe it is mainly the fault of the government that these people are sick. For example, the government proposes for people to follow the food pyramid. There is actual official guidelines which are published by the government and the government's affiliates to promote, the standard diet, sometimes called the standard American diet, but it can be all over the world. It's the same thing, and they are promoting this diet with this thing called the food pyramid. And of course, if you look at the food pyramid, you will notice that the food pyramid has at its base about 40% or 50% things like grains like rice and bread and pasta and noodles. And it's been proven over and over and over again that this diet is very unnatural. It is not the natural diet that humans consume in nature. When you look at like primitive tribes, hunter-gatherers that live in nature, they do not eat this kind of diet. And it's been proven that it's an unnatural diet, and therefore it is unhealthy. It's been proven to have a lot of negative health effects. But I'm not gonna go too much into the details of the history of the food pyramid, although I could talk about it, and I have actually talked about it in one of my books. I wrote a book about nutrition called The Hunter-Gatherer Diet. So if you guys want to check it out, it's a very small book, about 50 to 70 pages, which explains basically everything about nutrition and diet and why you should be eating like a hunter-gatherer. So yeah, the government is recommending people to eat like the food pyramid, and this recommendation is of course responsible for making people sick. It's making people very unhealthy, and the government wants it to be that way. This is why the government is, for example, not going to tell you to eat raw meat and raw animal foods and raw organs, and honey and fruit and that kind of stuff, because that would actually make you healthy. So now I'm going to explain why it is that the government doesn't want you to be healthy, and it's very simple. Because there is, of course, a lot of people know about things, large companies like pharmaceutical companies that sell medicines, such as Pfizer and GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, and all these different companies. Um, you know, they sell pharmaceuticals, and of course, they make a lot of money, a lot of profit from doing these things. They sell a lot of pharmaceuticals and medicines to people, and of course, they would if people didn't get sick, they would not be able to make any money, any profit. So actually, their business is based on the fact that people would get sick, and that's really important for them. So where does the government come into all this? Well, of course, just because there's a lot of private companies that sell pharmaceuticals and medication, doesn't mean that the government is not in any way related to this, because it is. The government is also profiting from these companies through taxation, but through other means as well. The government does collaborate with these companies, and they. I'm not going to go too much into the details about commissions and all that kind of stuff, but obviously the government is making a lot of money from the pharmaceutical and medical business. And yeah, so why does the government want people to be sick? Why the government doesn't want people to be healthy is because they want to make money. And to the amount of money that is actually made through selling of medicine and pharmaceuticals is actually a very terrifying number. It's a very large, very, very large sector or section of the economy. So yeah, that's basically why the government doesn't want people to be healthy. So obviously, it's been proven over and over again that the pharmaceutical industry and also the psychiatric industry is bullshit. Excuse my language. It is completely bullshit. A lot of, I have actually read a lot of research papers, and there's a lot of people, excuse me, there's actually a lot of papers out there which have proven with beyond the shadow of a doubt that many people who have been diagnosed with things like schizophrenia and bipolar, who have actually quit their medication and decided to go on a healthy diet, like a ketogenic diet, for example, or at least a diet which is low in low in grains. So they would cut out, for example, bread and pasta and rice and these things, and would focus more on like animal foods and maybe a little bit of fruits and vegetables. Just on a ketogenic diet, not on a full-on raw carnivore diet. They noticed actually a remission of their symptoms. So people who were actually diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar have actually been kind of cured of their disease just through dietary intervention. So that is very interesting. And of course, there is a lot of studies which have looked into this, both for bipolar and for schizophrenia, and for other things as well, also for epilepsy, that this kind of ketogenic diet is actually able to heal schizophrenics' problems and bipolar as well. And of course, even in ancient times, for example, long time ago, like in medieval times, it was known, schizophrenia used to be called bread madness, because they noticed that schizophrenics had a tendency to eat more bread than the average person. And I don't know if there's any research about this nowadays, but I'm pretty sure if they did research on that, they would find out that schizophrenics tend to eat more bread than the average person. So basically it is not exactly a secret that you can heal a lot of diseases through dietary intervention. It was also said by, some ancient people like Hippocrates, the father of medicine. He himself said, let food be thy medicine. He was proposing the idea that food can actually be used to heal people. And there was also a reason why, primitive people Primitive people that live as hunter-gatherers, that live in the jungle or live in the woods or live in the savannah or in the wilderness, do not tend to get sick very often. They have very, very, very low levels of disease and sickness. And this is mainly due to their lifestyle and, of course, the food that they consume. So, yeah, this is why the government wants you to be sick, because they can profit from your sickness. Um, Now, there is also another reason, which is that most people that work, you will find a lot of people that work for like a lifetime. They will work throughout their entire lives. And of course, at the end of their career, maybe when they reach the age of 60, 65, 70, whatever it is, they're going to go and try to collect a pension because they've invested all these years into a pension scheme. They've been paying into a pension scheme, and they're going to try to collect on the pension. A lot of people have a government pension, what's called a government pension, as in the government is the one paying them the pension because they work in the public sector. A lot of people do work in the public sector. Not everybody works for private companies. And the people that work in the public sector, they collect government pensions. And of course, when you collect government pensions, the way the pension works is that the longer you are around, the longer you are alive, the more money you can collect every month, right? So if you're retired at the age of 65 and you lived until the age of 100, that means the government would have had to pay you, 35 years of pension. So what the government wants is for you to get sick, so you die at a much earlier age. So instead of you reaching the age of 100, maybe you reach the age of, say you retired at the age of 65, but you actually die at the age of 72 or 73. That would be great for the government, because then they don't have to pay you that fucking pension. That pension that you're going to collect, they wouldn't have to pay you that, because if you die, obviously you're not going to take the pension. You're not going to collect the pension, and then they get to keep all that money. So for them, it's great that people would just conveniently die much earlier, right at the time when they're supposed to be collecting their retirement paychecks. And that's very convenient for the government, because then they wouldn't have to pay you. And that's another reason why the government does not want you to be healthy. Obviously, people that live in nature or follow a natural way of life, they typically, it's been recorded that such people live, well beyond the age of 90, 95, 100, very, very easily. You can easily live until 100 years if you're eating a natural diet and you live a natural lifestyle. But of course, we don't see that happening nowadays. Most people nowadays, the age of death is usually much lower. And there is a reason for that. Of course, the government is responsible for that, because they see you as a bunch of slaves that they own. And of course, what the slave master is always trying to do is to limit or curtail the rights of the slaves. They want them to work more and provide more work for them, whilst giving them the least amount of resources or, whatever. So I hope this clarified a bunch of things about, how the government thinks and how the government operates, and the reason why they don't want you to be healthy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and take care. Yep.